What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to talk about a topic that I've been thinking about for quite a long time. I've been really interested in this, and I haven't seen anybody cover it yet, at least not visually. And this is, how much bandwidth does Call of Duty use when you're playing multiplayer online? There's definitely a lot of misconceptions out there. Some people do understand just how much bandwidth this game uses just by being active on the internet and looking through forums and things like that. But for a lot of other people, they just have absolutely no clue how much bandwidth a game like Call of Duty uses. So let's hop right into it. What you're going to be seeing on the screen here is me playing a game, and at the exact same time, I recorded this simultaneously, you'll be seeing my upload and download that is being used by my PS4. Keeping in mind, my PS4 is only at the time being used for the game itself. I don't have anything downloading in the background, nothing like that. So you can very reliably see just how much bandwidth is used for both upstream as well as downstream for the game itself. And also you can see how that corresponds to what's going on in the game itself. So starting it off with Modern Warfare Remastered, as you can see here, through regular gameplay, we're ranging between 60 to 120 kilobits per second with normal gameplay. And you did hear that right, we're talking kilobits. We're not into the megabits, we're not into megabytes, nothing like that. These are kilobits per second. And for our upload with Modern Warfare Remastered, it ranges somewhere around 100 to 250 kilobits per second. So a noticeable amount more on the upload, but even still, a very small amount of bandwidth. As for Infinite Warfare, once again, for download, it ranges somewhere around 60 to 120 kilobits per second. And then for our upload, it seems to use a little bit less than Modern Warfare Remastered on average for the upload, and this is about 100 to 175 kilobits per second. Now finally, we have the COD World War II beta. I actually came up with this idea when the beta was active, and I recorded a chunk of gameplay in this same manner. And with this, I was actually very surprised to see just how little bandwidth this game is using. It was only using 75 to 100 kilobits per second for download, and it was using 50 to 75 kilobits per second for upload. So very, very little bandwidth used for COD World War II. Now keep in mind, anytime I died and there was a kill cam that needed to be loaded up, that would obviously create a spike in the bandwidth used, but that doesn't actually affect your regular gameplay. It's just that your client needs to load that kill cam. A similar thing goes with calling in player-controlled streaks in World War II or Infinite Warfare. You would definitely see a little bit of a spike in your bandwidth. Nothing too severe here, just a little bit of a spike though. So as you can see very clearly, Call of Duty uses very little bandwidth at any given time when you're playing online multiplayer. And because of this, bandwidth isn't really even part of the equation for, I would say, 99% of the people that play Call of Duty. I see this happen quite a lot when people are like, I don't get why I'm lagging. I have a 300 megabit connection. I shouldn't be lagging. Bandwidth isn't even really part of the equation, or it's a part of the equation that's essentially negligible for most people. At least the bandwidth that's coming from your ISP. Now having said this, there are a lot of other factors with your connection and with other areas that are out of your control that will contribute to a poor connection experience in an online game like Call of Duty. So instead of looking at what kind of bandwidth you pay for with your ISP, you should be looking more so at your latency, your packet loss, your jitter, as well as the amount of bandwidth that's being used on your home network. So even though Call of Duty doesn't use much bandwidth, things like Netflix or downloading torrents, these things will use a lot of bandwidth, and if you're reaching the capacity of your connection with these other programs at the same time as you're playing video games, or if somebody else in your house is doing that, this can create buffer bloat, and at that point, bandwidth is important because basically your packets for your game are waiting in line behind the Netflix packets, and you're going to be seeing a lot of packet loss, a lot of jitter, you're going to be seeing a lot of issues at this point due to buffer bloat. This is actually why a lot of players with NetDoomer routers, or even with other routers, it is possible with other routers, they'll use some sort of QoS service to give priority to their packets for gaming, or what they will also do is they will artificially limit or throttle their connection just slightly, and what this does is it makes it so buffer bloat doesn't happen, packets don't have to wait in line, because you never actually reach that capacity. So if you're ever wondering about why you're having a poor connection experience, the amount of bandwidth that you're paying for is essentially irrelevant. Don't use that in the argument for why you feel you should have a perfect connection, because bandwidth just doesn't matter. Focus on the other factors like your latency, like if you're seeing some packet loss. You could also potentially be seeing a line quality issue. Are you playing on a wired or wireless connection? These are all the factors you should really be focusing on, not the amount of bandwidth you pay for. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's video. I'd like to know in the comment section below, were you surprised to see these results? Or did you realize that Call of Duty really doesn't use that much bandwidth at all? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.